Salvete discipuli. In today's video lesson, we will read a story which uses all the persons of the verb, singular and plural in the present tense, and we will do this while encountering Quintus and his classmates having a heated discussion about who's better, Romans or Greeks. Quintus amicum Graecum habebat. Quintus used to have a Greek friend. Now, you have learned in the past that the imperfect tense, the ending bat tells you it's imperfect. You've learned that that meant was doing something, okay? So another meaning that can have is used to do something, okay? So the best translation here, Quintus used to have a Greek friend, okay? Talking about something in the past. Amicus erat Alexander. The friend was Alexander. Alexander obviously is a nice Greek name. Alexander the Great was the general who led the Greeks to conquer the entire eastern Mediterranean area, eventually leading his army all the way even into western India. Quintus et Alexander ad palaestram ibant. Ubi rhetor Graecus erat. Quintus and Alexander were going to the palaestra, where the Greek teacher was. Okay, so ibant is the verb that means was going. Now, believe it or not, the I is the whole root meaning of to go. Okay, so the bant ending is the imperfect ending. So ibant, were going. We just learned in a recent story, the palaestra is that exercise yard. So there weren't like school buildings at this time. What would happen, somebody like Caecilius is paying this Greek teacher to teach his son, and this guy basically tells the students like where to meet him. So maybe on a regular basis they do meet at the palaestra. Maybe there are other places they might meet. So that's where he's going. That's where the Greek teacher was. Hic rhetor erat Theodorus et prope palaestram habitabat. This teacher was Theodorus, and he used to live near the palaestra. So because he lives near there, the palaestra is convenient for him. Okay, so hic is this what we call a demonstrative adjective. This form, hic, is nominative singular masculine. Okay, so we use hic because rhetor, the word for teacher here, is masculine singular. Now, this is a word borrowed from Greek. Okay, we get rhetoric from it. Rhetoric is like the study of like public speaking, but here it means teacher because, in fact, a significant part of education in the ancient world was learning how to be a good public speaker. Caecilius knows that to the extent that Quintus knows how to speak well in front of other people, he will be successful in a wide variety of things, whether it be governmental service or business. In palaestra erat porticus longa, ubi Theodorus iuvenēs docēbat. In the palaestra was a long portico where Theodorus used to teach the young people. Okay, now porticus here, it looks like a second declension noun, right? But it's not. It's actually what we call a fourth declension. We're going to learn those forms at some later date, but it is a feminine noun, and that is why it is a porticus longa. Okay, we have the feminine form of that adjective because the noun porticus is feminine. Postquam ad hanc porticum vēnērunt. Okay, so we're going to translate part of the sentence before we get to the rest of it. So after they came to this portico. Okay, so this word hanc, okay, this is the feminine singular accusative of that word that we just saw, hic rhetor, but now hanc porticum. Okay, after they came to this portico, What happened? Alexander et Quintus rhétorem audīvērunt. Alexander and Quintus listened to the teacher. Rhetor juvenibus controversiam nuntiavit. The teacher announced a debate to the young people. Okay, so ibus here, this is the dative plural that we just learned last stage. The dative plural, juvenibus, to or for the young people. He announced a controversiam. This means a debate. Now, we get the English word controversy from this, but in Latin, this means like a debate. So we're going to have like two people are going to take different sides of the debate, and they're going to argue their positions. Graeci sunt meliorēs quam Romānī. Greeks are better than Romans. Okay, so meliorēs is what we call the comparative form of the adjective. The regular form is bonus, meaning good. It's bona in the feminine. So melior, now that's the singular form. Meliorēs is the plural form. That means better. Okay, we do have the English word ameliorate. Okay, to ameliorate something is to make something better. Okay, so he's basically announcing this as the debate topic. Okay, now one of the things about like people who actually do like the club called debate, you have to be able to debate either side. So part of being a good debater is you don't even have to necessarily support the position. You still have to be able to forcefully defend whatever position is put to you, and you have to do your best regardless. So they are now going to debate this topic. Quintus vehementer exclamavit. Quintus loudly exclaimed, minimē, nos Romānī sumus meliorēs quam Graeci. Okay, no, we Romans are better than Greeks. Okay, so now Theodorus, to be fair to him, he presented this as a debate topic. Okay, and it's not going to be sufficient to just simply assert the negative of the debate topic. Okay, that's basically what Quintus has just done. And so Theodorus is going to challenge him on this. Theodorus postquam hanc sententiam audīvit respondit. Theodorus, after he heard this opinion, sententiam means opinion, responded, haec est tua sententia. This is your opinion. Okay, so haec is the feminine singular nominative of this, what we call demonstrative adjective. Okay, so it means this. You use haec because sententia is a feminine nominative singular noun. So we had hic rhetor, this teacher, haec sententia, this opinion. Nos tamen non sententiam quaerimus. We, however, are not looking for an opinion. Mus, okay? Mus means we do an action, okay? So in this chapter, we are now going to have all the persons of the verb presented. Nos is the pronoun that means we, okay? Mus is the verb ending when you mean we. So just like you learned with ego means I, and then the verb has an O ending, nos means we, and the verb has a mus ending. Nos argumentum quaerimus. We are looking for evidence. Okay, now the English word argument comes from the Latin word argumentum, but in Latin this is not like just two people quarreling. This is like the evidence somebody would present in a controversia, which is a debate. Tum Quintus rhetori et amicus argumentum explicavit. Then Quintus explained his evidence to the teacher and his friends. These are dative endings. Rhetori is the dative of a third declension. The is here, this is the dative plural of a second declension noun. So, Quintus is going to speak. He's going to be using a lot of what we call these now first-person plural endings. Okay, so the we forms. Sumus is the it's the verb to be. Okay, so sumus all on its own means we are. Nos means we. Nos would not be necessary. He could have just said Romānī sumus fortissimi, which means we Romans are very brave. Okay? The nos, however, we're going to have the pronouns to kind of help remind you, but the word sumus needs to be memorized. It means we are. We Romans are very brave. Now, as we go through this, it would be good for us to talk about whether or not his statements are opinions or whether they are, in fact, facts. Okay? Is it true that the Romans are very brave? I think that's true. I think you could argue that because, indeed, the Romans have conquered the entire Mediterranean area. It took some bravery to go and do that. Nos barbaros ferocissimos superāmus. We overpower very fierce barbarians. Okay? So this issimos ending means very something. Ferox means fierce. Ferocissimos, very fierce. And again, the mus ending, superat means he, she, or it overpowers. Superāmus, we overpower. And also meaning we, the pronoun nos. Okay? Is it true that they overpower very fierce barbarians? Sure it is. By the time of Quintus, they have already conquered Gaul, modern-day France, and that was not easy. Julius Caesar had to fight against some very fierce barbarians to do that. Nos imperium maximum habemus. We have the biggest empire. So maximum is actually now what we call the superlative form. Okay? So this means the biggest. Okay? Now, is it true that at this time the Roman Empire is the biggest empire on the planet? It absolutely is. Okay? When you consider that the Roman Empire at this time stretches from Britain all the way down through parts of modern-day Arabia, the overall surface area of this empire, especially when you consider that they own the entire Mediterranean Sea, this is the biggest empire that exists at that time. It is also certainly the biggest empire that ever had existed yet. Okay? The empire that Alexander governed, okay, it stretched theoretically from Greece all the way to northwest India. It's hard to say that he actually was controlling all that. A lot of that kind of flew out of Greek control shortly after Alexander died. So I don't think it would be fair to really say that Alexander had a bigger empire than the Roman Empire. Nos pacem servamus. We protect the peace. Now, this is probably objectively true. However, peace as Rome defines peace, meaning as long as you don't dare try to oppose the Romans, you have peace. If you do dare to oppose the Romans, you are going to have a world of hurt. And so people might grudgingly admit that the Romans protect the peace, but peace for them. Vos Graeci semper contentiones habetis. You Greeks always have arguments. Now, here we have the second person plural verb ending tis. The pronoun you plural is vos. Okay? Now, we had previously learned the second person singular. To was the second person singular pronoun you, and the verb ending was just to add an s. Okay? Now for the plural, the pronoun is vos, and the verb ending is tis. You Greeks always have arguments. Now, Greeks are probably not even going to debate this point. They know that there are all these different philosophical schools among the Greeks, and people do take sides, and they do, in fact, constantly debate these things. Vos semper estis turbulenti. You are always rowdy. Okay? Nos sumus architecti optimi. We are the best architects. We have to give this to Quintus. It is very true. Much of Roman architecture was borrowed from the Greeks, but the Romans had a habit of taking something and perfecting it, okay? So the Romans, for instance, are the ones who truly developed what we call the arch, okay? The concept of the keystone, whatnot. This was something that allowed the Romans to build like an aqueduct using a lot less stone than previously, because you could have these open areas where the arch was. Okay, so the fact that the word architecti is Greek shows you that in fact they borrowed Greek architecture, but they really were at that time the best architects. Nos vias et pontes ubique aedificamus. We build roads and bridges everywhere. Okay, so pontes means bridges. Ubique is the Latin adverb meaning everywhere. There's an English word worth knowing, ubiquitous. Okay, if something is ubiquitous, it means it's like everywhere. Okay, and again, Quintus he gets this point. It is true that there are in fact still roads, believe it or not, in Europe that were built by the Romans and are still being used. Urbs Roma est major quam omnes aliae urbes. The city of Rome is bigger than all other cities. Okay, so major is the comparative meaning bigger. Quam means than. Okay, so major quam, bigger than. Is it true that the city of Rome is bigger than all other cities? Absolutely true. Okay, Rome was the first city in human history to reach a population of 1 million. Okay, so this is true. The city of Rome is definitely bigger than all other cities. Postremo nos Romani diligenter laboramus. Finally, we Romans work diligently. Dei igitur nobis imperium maximum dant. The gods therefore give to us the biggest empire. Now, nobis is the dative plural pronoun, so to us. Okay? So you've learned that nos means we, vos means you plural, nobis means to us, vobis is going to mean to you plural. Okay? So, do they have the biggest empire? Yes, they do. Is it true that the gods gave it to them? Well, that's going to be a theological question. But for the purposes of this argument, where the Romans and Greeks basically share a religion, the Greeks are probably grudgingly going to have to grant this point as well. Vos Graeci estis ignavi. You Greeks are lazy. So estis is the person, the second person plural of the verb to be. Again, vos you, vos estis, you are. You Greeks are lazy. Now, here's where the Greeks maybe would say, oh, no, that is just an opinion. I mean, come on, we Greeks have in fact done some important things. You know, we had a big empire once too. You know, we did invent a lot of things. So this, you know, Quintus has made some good points in favor of the argument that Romans are better than Greeks, but this is just an opinion. Vos numquam laboratis. You never work. Again, tis is the you plural ending. Vos is the you plural pronoun. Dei vobis nihil dant. Okay, so again, vobis is the you plural. The gods give nothing to you. Postquam Quintus hanc sententiam explicavit, after Quintus explained this opinion, iuvenēs Pompeiani vehementer plauserunt et eum laudāvērunt. The Pompeian young people loudly clapped and praised him. Eum is the word that means him, worth learning just as a vocabulary item. Deinde Alexander surrexit. Then Alexander got up. So the Pompeians are obviously Romans, okay? But there are Greeks who live there, and this Alexander is a Greek. And so now Alexander is going to take the other side of the debate. Iuvenēs Pompeiani tacuerunt et Alexandrum intente spectaverunt. The Pompeian young people became quiet and watched Alexander intently. Vos Romānī estis miserandi. You Romans are pathetic. Okay, so let's make sure we do also subject Alexander's argument to the same standard that we discussed for Quintus. Is it an opinion or is it actually evidential? This is just purely an opinion. You Romans are pathetic. Vos imperium maximum habetis, sed vos estis imitatores. You have the biggest empire, but you are imitators. Okay, is this true? This is absolutely true, by the way. Roman religion, Roman literature, Roman architecture, everything that they have really was just borrowed from the Greeks, okay? The Romans really did have an inferiority complex when it came to the Greeks. So the statement that the Romans are imitators is not something that the Romans could reasonably just refuse to accept. Nos Graeci sumus auctores. We Greeks are creators. Now, we get the word author from the word auctor, okay? In Latin, it's going to mean more than just people who author books, okay? An auctor is someone who creates anything, okay? Whether it be a physical object or a literary work. Vos Graecas statuas spectatis. You look at Greek statues. Okay, it's true. Even if a Roman's making the statue, people, it is totally Greek in appearance because the Romans have completely copied Greek art. Vos Graecos libros legitis. You read Greek books. Okay? This is true, people, whether it be the fact that they actually learn Greek so they can read Greek in the original language, or even the fact that every single Roman literary work is, in fact, using Greek models. They do read Greek books. Graecos rhétores auditis. You listen to Greek teachers. Well, this is true right now. I mean, Quintus can't argue with the fact that Caecilius has, in fact, paid for him to go to a school that is run by a Greek teacher. Vos Romānī estis ridiculi, quod estis Graeciores quam nos Graeci. You Romans are ridiculous because you are more Greek, Graeciores. You are more Greek than we Greeks. Iuvenēs postquam Alexander sententiam suam explicavit rhétorem. The young people, after Alexander explained his opinion, laughed. Tum Theodorus nuntiavit. Then Theodorus announced. Okay, so we're going to hear from the teacher a ruling on who won the debate. Think for a moment yourselves, the evidence that Quintus presented, and then what Alexander just said. Did what Alexander say mean that everything Quintus said wasn't good enough, that the Greeks are in fact better than the Romans? Well, Theodorus, who is a Greek himself, is going to declare, Alexander victor est argumentum optimum explicavit. Alexander is the winner. He explained the best evidence. Now we get the word victor, obviously, from the Latin word victor, meaning the winner.